Welcome to the channel. This is Russ Edgar. This morning I'm going to make suet for our birds. You see that I have a large canning stainless steel cooking pot. I have lard. I have great value crunchy peanut butter. I have whole wheat flour. I have granulated sugar. That's from Canada when we brought back from our trip last year. That's why it looks a little weird to the people in the United States. I have a container of raisins. I have Ouick Oats, and I have cornmeal. All these ingredients are going to be included in the suet that I'm making. Right now, we're a very early spring. It's the 24th day of March. It's a fantastically beautiful day outside, about 40-some degrees. I have birds pairing up unbelievably. Had bluebirds looking to build a nest this morning, so I need to, and I just fed my last suet 3 days ago. So I need to do some suet to feed my mockingbirds and other birds that are getting ready to mate. The first thing I do is I put a half of a lard container, L-A-R-D, in my cooker and put it on low heat to melt. You see, the lard container is empty right now because I've taken, this is the second time I've taken lard out of it. I will put it on the low heat on the big burner on the stove and let it melt. You do not want high heat because the lard and the peanut butter, when I combine them, will actually scorch if this heat is too high. If you're thinking of doing this yourself, I highly recommend it. It's a fraction of the cost of what they'll sell it to you in the store, and much better for the birds, very highly nutritious. The first thing you'll need, obviously, is a place to cook it. This is a 21.5 quart canner. I've had this, I'm guessing I've had it for 40 years, a long time. It's done a lot of work. It's stainless steel, and right now the only thing we use it for is making suet, but in the past I've actually canned produce in it in quart jars. I've just opened the peanut butter. This peanut butter, normally I get the smooth peanut butter. This time this is what Walmart had, so we picked up a container of the crunchy. If you look carefully, it is the, let me swing it so you can see it. It's a 40 ounce, and I use the whole container. The birds don't care if it's crunchy or smooth, so this is what we're using. When the lard melts, I want to you be able to see it, it turns clear. Even though it is white and opaque, when I melt it, and you can see how well it's doing, it turns into a clear liquid, pure fat. Since lard is a pure fat, it's from pork, when they slaughter swine, it is extremely flammable, so you want to be cooking it only on low heat. You don't want to go crazy, turn it on high, unless you really want to have a problem with all your hair being gone. All right, this first step is done. You see carefully that all the lard is melted. It is in a clear liquid now. It's warm, not hot, but warm. You can see I use a wooden spoon with a long handle to do the stirring. The next thing I'm going to do in the second step is I'm going to take this peanut butter and put it in the pot and melt it. Okay, first, second step is completed. Peanut butter is out of the container and into the pot. I'm going to turn on the heat on low and I'm going to constantly stir this until it completely melts. I have just turned off the heat. As you can see, the peanut butter has all melted. A lovely tan color. It is no parts in it except for the crunchy peanuts that are still in there. You can see them. I'm going to do something a little different now. The heat's off. It's just sitting here. I'm going to swing around and show you how I do it. I'm not tall enough to work on the stove and that container very comfortably. So I take the container off. I set it on a chair, which I put draped an old towel on to make the height so I can do the rest of the ingredients. And here we are on the chair. The next thing I'm going to do is put 9 cups of Ouick Oats in the container and stir it and combine everything. 9 cups of Ouick Oats are in. And now I'm simply going to stir it until it is all completely smooth. The oats are stirred in, looks really good, starting to smell really good. This is something that humans can eat if they wanted to. We don't, because we don't eat lard normally. We use olive oil in all of our things that we cook. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 9 cups of cornmeal in it and stir it also. I use yellow cornmeal simply because that's what I'm used to buying, but if you have white available, you could use that. It does not matter, in my opinion. Corn is corn. The batch is getting much stiffer now that I put the cornmeal in. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a full container, I'll swing around so you can see it, of raisins in. This is a 20-ounce container. The birds love having the raisins in the mix. If you're unfamiliar with raisins, they are simply dried grapes. And when they put them in the container, they all stick together. So what I have to do is it's a two-hand job. I hold the container with my left hand, and I use a small tablespoon or dinner spoon to scrape them and break them out so that they're all individual when they're in the mix. Raisins are all out of this container, and as you can see, they're all broken up very well and lying on top of the mix, ready to be incorporated. I've just put in 1.5 cups of sugar. I've just put the last ingredients in. It's a whole wheat flour. There are 4 1/2 cups dumped in there, and I will combine all that and we'll be good to go. I just had Lynn check the batch. I thought it looked pretty good. She thought it looked just about perfect. I'll stir it for you so you can see everything's been combined. It is a lovely, lovely mix of suet. Now, what do we do with it? Well, what we do, we save all of our lard buckets over the years until they fail. And what I'll do is I'll fill this lard bucket with soot. I will put a lid, and we have lots of lids, on it. And then I will put one in the refrigerator so that I feed out of it every day. And I put the rest of them in our chest freezer out in the dollhouse. So they'll last indefinitely until our next time we need to make it, and that'll probably be towards fall when we get ready for the winter. Okay, this is what you have when you're done. You have a soot container, a lard container filled with soot. We put it in loose. I'm going to make a note here. If you wanted to, in a different kind of container, and I'm going to digress just a moment. If you have these kinds of containers that you would get in a deli or someplace that have the clear lid that goes on top of it, you can put the lard in there and you can compress it and put it in a soot feeder, one of those that has 6 sides and is made out of wire. We used to have one of those, but we found that feeding Suet every day was more fun because we get to see the woodpeckers, the mockingbird, all the other birds that will eat Suet come and eat it, and we feed it loose. We do not put it in a feeder or compress it. All right, there's our finished product, ready to go in the refrigerator and be used. Guess I better tell you why the towel. Well, when I make Suet, I'm a bit messy, so everything that falls out of the container when I'm filling them lands on the towel. I'll simply take it outside, flip it out in the wind. Everything will blow away, birds will find whatever I throw out, and life will be good. And this is the last of them. You see we have 4 lard containers full of Suet. I really appreciate you being with me this morning. If you would, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate that. And be safe out there.